Good morning to everyone. Welcome to the final service lecture that you're going to have with me. And you had excuse me, I'm a bit sounds nasal because I was recovering from a sickness, which every one of you were having it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful 3 months with you all with regards to brand management and service marketing. All the hints, everything is been given. The assignments are being given. Even the exam papers are given for moderation. So all works are done. I'm on time. And this is the last lecture that you're going to have for service marketing. And then we will be moving into a case study that is hopefully next Tuesday. And then that will be the end of the journey of lecturing to you all. So I'm at the pleasure of lecturing you all. මම මගේ ජීවිතයේ වැදගත් සම්දිස්ථානයක් මේ බ්‍රෑන්ඩිං සහ සර්විස් මාකටිං වලට ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක ලෙක්චර් කරන්න ලැබිච්ච එක ගැන ඒ වගේම තමයි පැමිණීම අතින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් දුර්වලයි. හැබැයි මට දෙන්න පුළුවන් ආදර්ශය තමයි අවවාදය තමයි කිසිම දවසක ලෙක්චර් එකක් මිස් කරන්න එපා. මොකද ඔන්ලයින් ආවම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තියෙන වාසිය තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට වැඩ අනිත් වැඩ කරන ගමන් ලෙක්චර් එකට හුම්කම් දෙන එක. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඕන වෙලාවක පොතක් රිෆර් කරන්න පුළුවන් එක. ඒ වගේ බෙනිෆිට්ස් ගොඩාක් තියෙන ඔන්ලයින් වල හරියට කරනවා නම්. නමුත් මම හිතන්නේ පළවෙනි දවසේ ඉඳලා මේ වෙනකන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ඔන්ලයින් ලෙක්චර්ස් වලට ආපු අටෙන්ඩන්ස් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දුර්වලයි. ඒ වගේම ෆිසිකල් ඩිස්කෂන්ස් වල මුලදී තිබ්බ ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් එක පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට නැති වුණා. අන්තිම ඉතුරුනේ කීප දෙනයි. නමුත් ඒවල ගණ්ඩ තිබිච්ච දේවල් ගොඩයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. නමුත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒකක්වත් ගත්තේ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ පැමිණීම ෆිසිකල් පැමිණීම දුර්වලයි. But luckily you have a LMS being created by SLTC. So we have to thank them that you have a module or you have a mode or you have a Moodle that is working fine for you all. Every time you want, you can use it. හැබැයි ලෙක්චර් එක ඕවරෝල් ගත්තොත් ඔයගොල්ලන් මීට වඩා ගැඹුරෙන් සර්විස් මාකටිං බලන්න ඕනේ. මොකද සර්විස් මාකටිං වල ක්‍රිටිකල් පැත්තක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි සර්විස් එක පේන්නේ අතට අහුවෙන්නේ. It's very intangible. ඉතින් මේක නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ සර්විස් ආයතන වලට ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න ඕනේ. සමහර අය ගියේ නැහැ. නමුත් මේ ටික කාලය තුල මම උතන හිටියා නම් මම මේක මාස්ටර් කරනවා 100%ක්. හෝ 300%ක්. Right. Anyway, all the best for your future, and who's going to come to service marketing, you are grandly welcome. There are contact points that I can help you with, but if you are interested, හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ උනන්දුව පල්ලෙහාට දාගන්න එපා. මොන ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවත් උනන්දුව හරි කෙලින් තියාගන්න. උනන්දුව ඊට වඩා උඩට ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක ගොඩක් හොඳයි. extraordinary දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ තමුන්ට උනන්දුව තියනවා නම් විතරයි. ඒ වගේම තමයි මම හැමදාම ඔයගලන්ට කියනවා ඊර්ෂ්‍යාව, වෛරය, ක්‍රෝධය දේවල් හිතේ තියාගන්න එපා. ඒකෙන් වෙන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තමුන් පල්ලෙහාට වැටෙන එක. ඒ වගේම කිසිම කෙනෙක් එක්ක කම්පීට් කරන්න යන්න එපා. තමුන් එක්ක කම්පීට් කරනවා ඇරෙන්න. හැබැයි හැමතිස්සෙම හතුරට වුණත් කොම්ප්ලිමන්ට් එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් well done කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඔහු හතුරෙක් බව අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරලා තියෙද්දි ඒ දේ කරන්න. මොකද හේතුව ඔයාට හතුරු නැති හින්දා. right? ඒක නිසා හොඳට හිතන්න, හැමතිස්සෙම ආදරය වපුරන්න. Spread love, spread caring. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you take care of your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mother, your father, your sisters, your relations. That's your biggest strength in this whole wide world. And be with friends, be with progressive friends who will take you to the next level. Okay, with that note, let's turn into service marketing final lecture, communication mix for service, and we will get into another chapter as well. And I'll show you how vital the service marketing in communication mix for service marketing is going to be. Right. So what are we going to know? Analyze the challenges and opportunities in communicating service benefits to customers. Appraise the role of internal communication in service. distinguish between various channels in communicating service and its integration for best results, formulate strategies to matching promises to service delivery. Okay, this is what we are going to encapsulate. This is what is encapsulated in the lecture. මේක තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට lecture එක අවසානයේදී ලැබෙන දැනුම. දැන් මේකෙන් ප්‍රශ්න එන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රයේදී මේ ප්‍රශ්න වලින් assignments වල අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකින්ද හොඳට study කරන්න මේ model එක. Right. Universal model that what we do for communication. ඔගොල්ලෝ මේක දන්නවා. මේක හරි ලේසියෙන් මතක තියාගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්. මේ communication model එක හැමතිස්සෙම ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න ඕනම දෙයක් කරද්දී. තමුන් යාළුවෙක්ට කතා කරනකොට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ෆෝන් එකෙන් කතා කරනකොට වෙන්න පුළුවන් යාළුවෙකුට. එහෙම නැත්නම් ලියුමක් ලියනකොට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඊමේල් එකක් ගහනකොට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේ හැම communication model එකකම මේ හැම communication mode එකකම sender කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා receiver කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. There is a sender and there will be a receiver. එතකොට මේ දෙන්නගේ කාර්යභාරයන් තමයි sender හැමතිස්සෙම encode කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් message එකක් හදනවා. sender encode කරලා ඒක receiver ට යවුවහම receiver ඒක decode කරනවා. හරිද? එතකොට receiver every time receiver decodes the message. එතකොට මෙතන වෙන්නේ මේ message එක යවන්න sender media එකක් හොයා ගන්නවා. මාධ්‍යයක් හොයා ගන්නවා. right? එතකොට sender බලනවා මේක දැන් මම message එකක් හැදුවා මේක channel කරන්නේ කොහොමද? එයා media එකක් හොයනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් මාධ්‍යයක් හොයනවා. ඒක ටෙලිෆෝන් එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක sign language එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක රහසක් කියන විදිහ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ටීවී එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. රේඩියෝ එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සෝෂල් මීඩියා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ මාධ්‍ය හරහා මේක යවනකොට රිසීවර් එහා පැත්තෙන් ඒක ඩීකෝඩ් කරනවා. රයිට්? එයා ඒක රිසීව් කරන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. සමහර විට ඔයා කියන මෙසේජ් එක නෙමෙයි යාට යන්නේ. right? මොකද එයාගේ decoding strength එක උඩ, ඔයාගේ encoding strength එක උඩ, එයාගේ decoding strength එක උඩ message එකේ clarity එක රැඳෙනවා. ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට අඬදබර ඇති වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ clarity එක නැති වෙන්නේ. ඔයා එකක් කියනවා එයාට එකක් ඇහෙනවා. right? ඒක නිසා මේ communication model එක සාර්ථකව practice කරන්න ඕනේ. දැන් උදාහරණයක් මම කියන්නම්. මෙන්න බලන්න මේ උදාහරණය. right? මේක තමයි ඔරිජිනල් මෙසේජ් එක. මරණයට කැපවෙච්ච මිනිස්සෙක් උදෙසා යවපු මෙසේජ් එක. මේකේ ඇත්තටම කමායක එන්න ඕනේ මෙතනට. දැන් බලන්න මේක මෙහෙම තියෙන කොටයි වෙනස්. right? Kill him not save him. කමායක එන්න ඕනේ මෙතනට. නමුත් අත්වැරදීමකින් මේ කමායක මෙතනට ගියා. right? එතකොට වෙන අර්ථයක් ලැබෙන්නේ. මෙන්න බලන්නේ අර්ථය. කලින් තිබ්බේ කමායක මෙතන. right? Kill him not save him. මරන්න එපා බේරගන්න. නමුත් අත්වැරදීමකින් මේ කමායක මෙතනට ආවා. Kill him not save him. මේක මගේ ආච්චම්ම මට කියලා දීපු කමියුනිකේෂන් මතක තියාගන්න දීපු උදාහරණයක්. බලන්න මේක වෙනස් වෙච්ච විදිහ. මේ එක කමායකකින් පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ ජීවිතය වෙනස් කරන්න. Kill him not save him. දැන් අපි අතරේ කතා කරද්දිත් මේ වගේ කමියුනිකේෂන් ගැප්ස් ගොඩාක් එනවා. සමහර අය හිතේ ගොඩාක් දේවල් තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ. දැන් මේ රීසන්ට් එක්සැම්පල් එක තමයි ළමයි assignments වලට එන්නේ නෑ. මොකද කවුද කියලා ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් එක කියන්න ඕනේ. communication error. send එකෙන් අහන්නේ නෑ ඒක. කෙලින්ම කතා කරලා අහන්න ඕනේ send එකෙන්. ඔයා මෙහෙම කිව්වද? මට මෙහෙම බයක් තියෙනවා. ඒව අහන්නේ නෑ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ලෝකවල ජීවත් වෙනවා. ජීවත් වෙලා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මතවලට වැඩ කරනවා. බලන්න මේ එක කමායකක් නිසා මිනිස් ජීවිතයක් නැති වෙච්ච විදිය. එතකොට මේක හරි තැනට දාලා තිබ්බනම් kill him not save him කියලා. එහෙනම් අදටත් මේ පුද්ගලයා ජීවිතුන් අතර. ඉතින් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ day to day ජීවිතවල මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ එනවා. right? මේක හරියට තේරුම් ගන්න බැරි වුණා. මේ encoding decoding වල ප්‍රශ්න ගැටලු රාශියක් පැන නැගෙනවා. එතකොට අපි හරි clear cut communication එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ. මම මේ ළඟදී දවසක් මම ඕගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වා මගේ යාළුවෙක් ෆේස් කරන සර්විස් ඉෂුව එකක් ලංකාවේ ප්‍රමුඛ බැංකුවක් එක්ක. right? ඒගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රෙෂර් ටැක්ටික්ස් යූස් කරනවා, ජරා ප්‍රෙෂර් ටැක්ටික්ස් යූස් කරනවා මිනිසුන්ට ලව්ව ගෙව්වන්න. නමුත් මේ කරුණ අන්තිම උඩටම ගියා. ඒ බැනපු මිනිස්සෙක් මේ මිනිස්සර කතා කරලා ආදරෙන් කතා කරනවා. බලන්න කොච්චර වෙනසක්ද කියලා. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා මේ කමියුනිකේෂන් මොඩල් එක හරියට දැනගන්න නැත්නම්. ඕනම මිනිස්සෙක් හරියට කතා කරලා ඒ මිනිස්සයාගේ ඇස් දෙකකින් ඒ මිනිස්සයාගේ ලෝකෙ දිහා බලන්න පුළුවන් නම් if you can have a very empathetic look then most of the communication will be in a proper way. එතකොට receiver has to have a super decoding power. If the receiver don't have the decoding power, if the receiver doesn't have that super knowledge of decoding, then there'll be a lot of issues coming up. ඒක නිසා හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න මේ encoding decoding කියන එක communication model එකේ අති වැදගත් තැනක්. ඔයා හරියට කියන්න ඕනේ යට හරියට receive වෙන්න. අපි කියන message එකක් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 90%ක්වත් හරියට යට receive වෙනවා. අපි හරි crystal clear යට communicate කරනවා. සමහර අය මෙමෝ ගහනවා ඒ මෙමෝ වල තේරුමවත් හොයාගන්න බෑ. කමා නැහැ, හිස් full stops නැහැ, hyphens නැහැ, dashes නැහැ. ඔහේ ගහනවා. ඉංග්‍රීසි වැරදි. අනිත් එක තමයි තමුන් කමියුනිකේට් කරන ටෝන් එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් ටෝන් එක ගමුකෝ තමුන් තරහ ගිහිල්ලා හෝ මොකක් හරි කමියුනිකේට් කරන ටෝන් එක අනුව තමයි මෙසේජ් එක එහාපැත්තට රිසීව් වෙන්නේ. ඒ ටෝන් එක වැරදි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, ඒ ටෝන් එක හරි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. තමුන් කමියුනිකේට් කරන විදිහෙන් තමයි එහා පැත්තට රිසීව් වෙන්නේ. ඒතර ඊළඟට කමියුනිකේට් කරන ක්‍රමය තමුන් යොදාගන්නේ සිංහල නම් සිංහල පැහැදිලිව කියන්න. දැන් සමහරලාට ඉන්නවා නම ඇහුවාම මොකද්ද වගේ නම? හරි විශේෂ. ඉතින් ආයෙ අහන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද නම? අවශ්‍යයි. නම හරියට පැහැදිලිව කියා ගන්න බෑ. right? තමුන් කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ, පැහැදිලිව වචන උච්චාරණය කරන්න ඕනේ. අයන්න නම් අයන්න කියවෙන, ඩයන්න නම් ඩයන්න කියවෙන තමුන් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ සිංහල නම් සිංහල උච්චාරණය කරන්න ඕනේ අනිත් කෙනාට ඒක වැටහෙන්න. ඒතකොට මෙහෙම අපි හිතමු මෙහෙම ක්ලියර් කමියුනිකේෂන් එකක් යනකොට මේ රිසීවර්ගේ සෙන්ඩර්ගේ අතරේ මේ මීඩියම් එක සිලෙක්ට් කරලා මෙසේජ් එක channel කරද්දි when you are channeling the message to the receiver and when he was about to decode, there'll be plenty of noise can happen. Right? අනවශ්‍ය ශබ්ද එන්න පුළුවන්. විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔබ බස් එකක travel කරනකොට when you're traveling a bus and you're trying to communicate, when you're trying to communicate via an electronic device, it can be a phone, it can be earphones, it can be anything. There are noises happening. So when these noises happen, the decoding and the encoding of the message will get interrupted. Right? ඒකනේ අපි අර මොකද කිව්වේ? What you said just now? මේ මට ඇහෙන්නේ අර ඒ ෆීඩ්බැක් එක දෙන්නේ අපි බ්‍රේන් එක මාර විදිහට ફોකස් කරනවා ඔයාගේ වචන වලට. ඒක වුණ නැති වුණාම තමයි අර නොයිස් එක කාගෙන අරක අපි අහන්නේ. So then you need to know there can be major noises can happen. So you need to avoid that. එතකොට receiver ට දැන් අපි තුන් මේක හරියට කරුණා කියලා. receiver ට මේක හරියට ගිහිල්ලා එයා decode කරාම එයා ඔයාට response එකක් දෙනවා as a feedback. Right, හරි. ඔළුව මෙහෙම වැනෙනවා එහෙම නැත්නම් concentrate කරන there'll be feedbacks coming to you. Again you have to encode, again you have to go put a message through and through a media. It goes decode, receiver again. So this is the universal model of the communication spectrum. Now you need to by heart this, because when it comes to service marketing, communication is absolutely vital, right? So communicating a service, use positive language with a touch of empathy. දැන් අපි සමහර අය ඉන්නවා මම මේ කියනවා මේ මතක නැහැ. සමහර අය ඉන්නවා. right? මම assignment එක record කරලා ඒ recording එකත් LMS එකට දාලා තිබ්බහම පහුවෙන්දර කතා කරලා අහනවා එහෙම recording එකක් නැහැ කියලා. එක්ක recording එක බලලා අහනවා කොයි slide එකේ ඉඳන්ද දැන් මේක කරන්නේ කියලා. ඇයි ඒ කියනකොට හං ඉඳලා නැහැ. right? කොච්චර empathy තිබ්බත් මොනවා කරත් කියනකොට හං ඉඳලා නැහැ. So listen closely and avoid interrupting the customer. අපේ ජීවිතෙත් එහෙමයි. Listen very closely and avoid interrupting. Then service එකේදී use positive language with a touch of empathy. Right? Use positive language with a touch of empathy. Listen closely and avoid interrupting the customer. දැන් මං අර කියපෝ බැංකුවේ right? කස්ටමර්ට අහුම්කම් දෙන්නෙම නැහැ. කුණු හරපෙන් බයින සයිස් එකටම එනවා. right? Listen closely and avoid interrupting the customer. Use consistent brand vocabulary. Use consistent brand vocabulary. ඔයාගේ ආයතනයේ brand එකේ mission එක vision එක ඔළුවේ තියාගෙන communicate කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ පුද්ගලයාට වෙන දෙයක් ඔය ආයතනය ගැන යනවා. So you have to communicate with loads of empathy, loads of consistency, loads of use consistent brand vocabulary, right? ආයතනේ දැන් මම TVS ආයතනයට වැඩ කරනවා නම් මම කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් එක්ක කතා කරනවා නම් TVS ආයතනය ගැන TVS ආයතනේ brand values මගේ vocabulary එකකින් එළියට යනවා. ඒ ගියේ නැත්නම් ඒ පුද්ගලයාට TVS එක ගැන හෝ ඒ ආයතනය ගැන වැටහීමක් එන්නේ නැහැ. right? Give thorough answers to technical questions. Technical question එකක් අහුවාම මං හිතන්නේ මේක මෙතන එබුවාම මේක එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. ඔව් සර් මේ බටන් එක ප්‍රෙස් කරාම තමයි සර් මේක ඕපන් වෙන්නේ. Give thorough answers, especially technical questions. right? Make communication clear and concise. right? හරි විදිහට communicate කරන්න. Clear and concise. To the point. right? Otherwise, the communication won't take place. Right. Make communication, personalize the interaction. දැන් ඔයා බලන්න ෂා FM එක අරගෙන ෂා FM එකේ DJsලා ඔයාට කතා කරන්නේ ඔයා කියලා. ඔයා අද මොනවද කරන්නේ? මෙන්න ඔයාට මම සින්දුවක් දෙනවා දැන්. මේ ඔයා කිව්වහම ඒක personalize වෙනවා. I think you need attention. I suggest that you can do this and avoid negative phrases. right? ඍණාත්මක දේවල් කතා කරන්න එපා. හරි. එතකොට ඒක එහෙමනම් අපි බලමු තව පොඩ්ඩක් යටට ගිහිලා internal communicating. Service industry එකක external communication වගේම internal communications අති වැදගත් වෙනවා. අපි පොඩි module එකක් බලමු මේක කොහොමද කරන්න කියලා. Internal communication operating model, inspiring and engage colleagues to build brilliant high performance organizations. දැන් මේක සංකල්පයක් පමණයි, right? අපිට මේක ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් තියෙනවා. Okay, partnering with leaders. We partner with and advise our senior leaders. එතකොට මේක influence කරන to improve our organization's performance externally, creating proud advocate for our work. Partners with leaders. එතකොට create advocates. We prioritize engaging people, the purpose and impact of our organization. So we externally. Creatively innovative. We engage people creatively through innovative means. So externally. Then අපි internally ඒකම අපි internally කරනවා to make our organizations work better internally. Creating ambassadors for our culture. Partnering with leaders. Creating innovations. Engaging three ways. We foster insight-driven three-way communication. Right? Driving change. Driving change, we drive engagement in change narrative, right? To make organizations work better internally, creating ambassadors for our culture. එතකොට මේ ඇතුළට මේක අපි කමියුනිකේට් කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ඇතුලේ ඉන්න අයත් එක්ක. එහෙනම් මේකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. Right. Before we go there, let's watch a video. I want to show you, I want to re-establish the communication model. So let's watch this video and then we'll come back. Okay. So where is it?
There are various models of communication, theoretical approaches, and we are going to unpack three of the main ones you'll see in most textbooks: the transmission model of communication, the transactional model of communication, and the constitutive model of communication. So first, the transmission model of communication. In 1948, Shannon and Weaver published an article explaining this model. They were working at Bell Telephone Laboratories at the time, so their approach really shows that technological angle on their thoughts. In other words, they envisioned a sender or source of information who encodes a message, let's say into language, for example, then transmits that message through a channel of some sort. The message is then decoded on the other end and received by a receiver. So it's very reminiscent of the phone system. So for example, let's say I send my wife a voicemail and it says, "I'd like to buy a car." That message goes through the communication system and it arrives in her voicemail box. And as soon as she listens to it, the message has been sent and received. Noise, however, is another part of this model. Noise might interfere with the message at any point along the way, maybe in the decoding and the receiving of the message. Let's say the message is garbled or doesn't make sense on the other end because something's wrong, there's some static in the line, so to speak, then that might complicate the communication process. According to this model, communication has successfully occurred when a message has been sent and received. So in that way, it's a linear or one-way model. A lot of people use the pipeline as a metaphor to describe it, because let's say a pipeline has oil going from one end all the way and flowing down to the other end, and communication goes in one direction. I like to use the metaphor of the archer. The archer has a bow and arrow, and when he or she releases that arrow, it either hits the target or it doesn't. Except in this archer metaphor, the archer is really blindfolded, because according to this model, communication has occurred when a message has been sent and received, but the archer doesn't necessarily know when he or she's blindfolded if the arrow hit the target. But as long as it has hit the target, then communication has occurred. So you'll notice there's no feedback and no nonverbal communication in this model. That's considered a major weakness to some people in terms of how we understand face-to-face communication. It's like a text message, an email, a voicemail, an old-fashioned telegraph, or even a letter in the mail. You send it, but you don't necessarily know when and if the receiver has actually received the message. It goes one way, and then as soon as they read that or decode that message, then communication has occurred. It's also sometimes called the container model of communication, because the words, according to this model, are thought to contain the meaning. Everything you need to know, in other words, all the meaning, is contained in the words. As all the examples here illustrate, this model is very useful for explaining how information technology works and how communication works anytime you're sending it through some type of technological communication channel. Has clear limits, though. A lot of people criticize it because it doesn't explain the complexities and the human dynamics of face-to-face communication well. The next model is the transactional model of communication, and it compensates for some of the limitations of Shannon and Weaver's one-way linear model. In 1967, Paul Watzlawick and his colleagues built their model on some previous writings and looked at the interactional features of communication and tried to capture that in their model. It's sometimes called the interaction model. Right after that, a couple years later, in 1970, Dean Barlund published his work that expressed many of the same ideas with slightly different wording, but all of these concepts that were coming about in 1967 to 1970 were all aligned. And so when combined, most textbooks refer to these models and this approach as generally as the transactional view or transactional model of communication. It has some key differences from the Shannon and Weaver model. This model, the transactional model, they don't believe that meaning is contained in the words. Instead, they think meaning is in people. Meaning comes about through the interaction. So the communication process is largely about creating shared meaning between and among people. You don't start out, for example, understanding other people. We have to work toward that through communication. According to this model, people are both senders and receivers at the same time. So this model integrates nonverbal communication and feedback. There's a saying or an axiom that goes with this model: you cannot not communicate. And that's another way of saying that you're really always sending messages of some sort, whether you realize it or not, whether you intend to or not. When you include things like nonverbal communication and feedback, you're always giving off some kind of vibe that the other person is going to be picking up on. So instead of an archer or a pipeline as the metaphor, this has got much more of a two-way dynamic feel to it. And so I prefer the metaphor of a dance where you're dancing with a partner, where each communicator is learning the steps from the other person as they go simultaneously. And when it's done, they have reached some similar understanding, some similar meaning for what they are trying to do in that dance. And a lot of conversations are like that. There's a back and forth, there's a simultaneousness to it where you're figuring out what you mean as you go along. So once again, if I say I'd like to buy a car, and let's assume I am face to face this time in the conversation with my wife, we would have a back and forth discussion about what exactly that meant and what kind of car was I picturing and what kind of car might she be picturing. And hopefully, if it goes well, at the end of that conversation, we have reached some sense of shared meaning, a type of meaning agreement about what we mean when we say we'd like to buy a car. This model has some other features that add on to the Shannon and Weaver foundation. For example, context shapes the way we process this communication in every way. If we're in a work setting versus a private one-on-one setting, if we're in a big crowd of people, all those contextual features are going to shape and influence the communication process. According to the transactional model, we also arrive at these interactions with what we call a field of experience. Each communicator has attitudes, beliefs, values, and psychological influences that shape and form the interpretation of our messages. We look at the nonverbal and verbal cues, and because of all those attitudes and beliefs, we are making sense of them, we're interpreting them in certain ways. For me, this shows how the decoding of messages, as Shannon and Weaver called it, is much more sophisticated and layered than simply figuring out what the words mean. You're reading the signals very carefully and understanding things from a certain point of view. You're filtering everything you hear and see through your field of experience. According to this model, there's also content and relationship dynamics at play in a conversation. So there's content that we're exchanging, that information we're sharing back and forth, but our communication also has relationship dynamics to it as well. Our tone of voice, our pace, how we're looking at the other person. We're all looking for certain cues in a conversation. We all see ourselves a certain way. We all see the other person a certain way. And so we can read between the lines. And it's not just the content. There's also that relationship dynamic that gets established. So most people agree that the transactional model of communication is much better at capturing the face-to-face realities of human relationships. And it makes up for a lot of the shortfalls of the Shannon and Weaver model. The third model we'll look at is the constitutive model, or the constitutive theory of communication. In 1999, Robert Craig wrote an article in the journal called Communication Theory, where he explained that communication is constitutive. In other words, communication creates, it produces our social world. Robert Craig sees communication as the driving force in our lives and our relationships. Craig talks about how communication is the central activity in our lives that creates all other social forces in society. He states, communication is no secondary phenomenon that can be explained by antecedent psychological, sociological, cultural, or economic factors. Rather, communication itself is the primary constitutive social process that explains all of these factors. Manning in 2014 had much the same view. He said that communication is not a mere tool for expressing social reality, but also a means of creating it. This reminds me of something that Carl Weick said a couple of decades earlier in 1979 when he wrote his book about organizing. He said the word organization was too static of a term to describe what's happening in our workplaces. Instead, he favored the term organizing because he thought it captured that activity that went into creating, establishing, and maintaining our workplaces. The concrete buildings and the brands that we all know didn't already exist. They are the result of ongoing communication. In fact, if we stopped interacting, if we stopped communicating, stopped picking up the phone, stopped going to meetings, stopped making agreements, life and organization would grind to a complete halt. So, in the same way, Robert Craig says the economics, the social structures, the psychological features of our social world were established in the first place by communication processes. So, communication constituted or formed our society, our relationships, and our lives. So these three models, the transmission model, the transactional model, and the constitutive theory of communication, all have their own emphases. They all shed light on different aspects and take a different view of communication. A better understanding of these three models, especially in the ways they compare and contrast, will help.
Right. So transmission, transaction, and there was another model. Now these videos will help you, right, in remembering
Communication and the
constitutive model, right? So these three are now explained, and you can go through them and see what these learnings are all about. Okay, so with that, we will go into the lecture once again, and we'll see how communication works. Right. So internal communication keeps your people informed. දැන් සමහර ආයතන තියෙනවා මේ ගහෙන් ගෙඩියෙන්නා වගේ තීරණ ගන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි හිතමුකෝ කෙනෙක් දැන් අපි හිතමුකෝ කෙනෙක් තව කෙනෙක්ව දිනවන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. එයා ඒ මොකක් හරි එකක් ලෙජිස්ලේෂන් එකක් පාස් කරගෙන ඒ කෙනාට ඇටැක් කරන්න යනවා වෙන විදියකට. ඒතර අර ඉන්ටර්නල් කමියුනිකේෂන් නෙමෙයි වෙන්නේ. ඒක වෙන දෙයක් ඒ. Internal communication keeps people informed, keeps your people informed. ඇතුලේ මොනවද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියන එක මිනිස්සු දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. right? ඒක ඉඳලා හිටලා කමියුනිකේට් කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒක මිනිස්සු රැස් කරලා දැන් මට මතකයි මම වැඩ කරපු ආයතනවල අඩුම තරමේ මාස 3කට සැරයක් අපි ඉන්ටර්නල් කට්ටියට මීටින්ස් තියෙනවා. කියලා ඊළඟ මාස 3 කරන්න යන සැලසුම් ගැන අපි කියනවා. මිනිස්සු හරි ප්‍රබෝධයෙන් ඉන්නේ. So their happiness index is absolutely great. Because it's communicated, informed. එතකොට මිනිස්සු හොඳට වැඩ කරන මිනිසුන්ට අවබෝධයක් තියෙනවා. මිනිසුන්ට දැක්මක් එනවා. නැතුව එහුයි haphazardly decisions ගන්නෙ නැහැ. Internal communications gives people a more holistic view of the organization. මිනිසුන්ට ආයතනය ගැන පුළුල් දැනුමක් එනවා. ඇතුලෙන් communicate කරන්න පටන් ගත්තාම. Right. So that is one aspect. ඒක නිකන් ඔහේ communicate කරන්න බෑ. You need to communicate properly to the internal consumer. Properly means get them to a meeting, show what you're going to do, show what you have done, show what are the results that's going to happen. If the company is not doing well, say that the company is not doing well. And don't get panic. I'm with you. We are going to rescue you. There'll be expansions coming up. එතකොට මිනිස්සු මාර understanding එකකින් ජීවත් වෙනවා. Internal communication helps build out organizations culture. Right. Internal communication එකක් නැතුව යනවා නම් ආයතනයක් නිකන් haphazardly communicate කරනවා. ඒ සමහර companies තියෙනවා මේ අද උදේ නැගිටලා බලද්දී ඔන්න circular එකක් ඇවිල්ලා. මේක තමයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. මෙතන තමයි මේක වෙන්නේ. ආයි නිශ්ශබ්දයි. එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. එහෙම කරනවා නම් ඒ ආයතනයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක නිකන් ඔහේ රන් වෙන ආයතනයක්. procedures තියෙන්න ඕනේ. processes තියෙන්න ඕනේ. right මිනිස්සුන්ට communicate කරන්න. එහෙම නැතුව ඒ කල්චර් එක ඒ ආයතනයේ එතකොට වැරදි කල්චර් එකක් ඩෙවලොප් වෙනවා. අප්පා මේක ඇතුලේ කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න මේ ගහෙන් ගෙඩිනවා වගේ තමයි මේ කමියුනිකේට් කරන්නේ. right එකලවට කියනවා ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් තියනවා කියලා. අනිත් පැත්ත හැරලා බලද්දී ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් නැහැ. එහෙම ආයතන තියෙනවා. මම වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා එහෙම ආයතනවල. right අවුරුද්දක් නෙවෙයි බය වෙන්න එපා වගේ පළවෙනි අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත තියෙනවා කියලා කියනවා. හැබැයි බලන් ගියාම එහෙම එකක් නැහැ. So that builds organizational culture. Internal communications gets your people engaged. Internal communication gets your people engaged. මිනිස්සු කතා කරන්න පටන් ගන්න නැත්නම් they will live in silos. They will have French walls built up. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මතවල ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ communicate කරන්නේ. හැබැයි ඇතුලේ communicate කරන්න පටන් ගන්න ආයතන, right? People will get engaged. People will be happy. Internal communications helps keep people calm in times of crisis. නිතරම මට මතකයි මෙල්බර්න් ආයතනයේ crisis එකක් වෙච්ච වෙලාවේ අපේ මුළු ටීම් එකම calm විදියට හැසිරුණා. අපි කවුරුත් පැනික් වුණේ නැහැ. පැනික් වෙන අයට පැනික් වෙන්න දීලා අපි ලස්සනට ඒ crisis එක manage කරා. අපි ගන්න හැම වික්ටරි එකක්ම හැම දෙයක්ම ඇතුළට කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. මිනිස්සුන්ව හැපි තියන්න ඕනේ. මිනිස්සුන්ට ආදරය කරන්න ඕනේ. මිනිස්සුන්ව ෆික්ස් කරන්න ගියොත් මිනිස්සුත් ඔයාව අනිත් පැත්තට ෆික්ස් කරනවා. එක්ක ස්වභාව ධර්මයෙන් ඔයා ෆික්ස් වෙනවා. මොකද අපි ස්වභාව ධර්මයත් එක්කත් කමියුනිකේට් කරනවා. ගස් එක්ක කතා කරන්න ගස් මේ වලින් පළදාව ගන්න පරණ මිනිස්සු කරේ ගස් එක්ක කතා කරපු එක. කමියුනිකේෂන් එක. මේ මුළු විශ්වයත් එක්කම අපි එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නවා. එහෙනම් මේ විශ්වයට හරියන අපි කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් අපි එකිනෙකාට කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. හිතේ එකක් තියාගෙන ඉඳලා වැඩක් නෑ. දැන් සමහර ගෲප්ස් තියෙනවා කතා කරන්න මිනිහව කපන්ලිතයා. ඇටිටියුඩ් ඉෂුව එකක් තියෙනවා. බොරු කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිහා කතා කරනවා. මේ මිනිහට ක්ලියර් කරගන්න ඕනේ. මේ මිනිහා කොයි වෙලාවක හරි ඕන වෙලාවක කතා කරලා ක්ලියර් කරනවා. ඒ කතා කරන්නේ නැතුව පිටිපස්සෙන් ඇවිල්ලා නිකන් කුටු ගාලා කතා කරන ඒවා නිසා වර්ක් ප්ලේස් එකේ ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් වෙච්ච වෙලාවකට මිනිස්සු නෑ මුණ දෙන්න. වර්ක් ප්ලේස් එකේ කල්චර් එක හැදෙන්නේ ඕගොල්ලන්ගෙන්. ගෲප්ස් ඇතුලේ කල්චර්ස් හදන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝ. එහෙනම් ඕගොල්ලෝ එම්පැතටිකලි ලස්සනට කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. පැහැදිලිව කමියුනිකේට් කරන්න ඕනේ. Internal communication creates another dimension to your workforce or workplace. Right? ඇතුලේ communicate කරන company දියුණු වෙනවා. Internal communication creates a channel for feedback, debate and discussion. It has to be. For example, if you look at අපි මිනිස්සු අතර communicate කරන්න හදපු plans. අපි award එකක් ගත්තත් ඒක මිනිස්සුන්ට කියනවා, සේවකයන්ට කියනවා. සේවකයෝ හින්දා තමයි අපි මේ awards ගන්න කියන එක. අපි consumer award එකක් දුන්නා අපි consumers ලා කතා කරලා කියනවා. ඒ වගේම ඇතුලේ foster කරනවා internal communication මාර්ග විදිහට. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා දැන් මේ සමහර දේවල් අපි මුලින්ම people's award එක මම මෙල්බර්න් එකට දිනපු වෙලාවේ මේන් මිස්ටර් රවි ජයවර්ධන දැන් group CEO මේන් මිස්ටර් ලක්ෂ්මන් වීරසූරිය දැන් ඔය පියවඩේ ආයතනයේ සභාපතිතුමා ඔයගලන්ට පේන තේ කිරි සංගමේ සභාපති right එතකොට මේන් මිස්ටර් ආශාන් කන්නංගර head of sales මෙල්බර්න් එක මේ අපි මුලින්ම people's award එක දිනලා ඊට පහුවෙන්ද අපි ස්ටාෆ් එකට කමියුනිකේට් කරන අපේ වික්ටරි එක මිනිස්සු හරි ප්‍රබෝධයෙන් ඉන්නේ ඒ වගේම තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා මාස් හෝල්ඩින්ග්ස් වල තියෙනවා අභිමානී කියලා වැඩසටහනක් තනිකර ඒකේ වැඩ කරන සේවිකාවන්ටම හදපු වැඩසටහනක් මේක අතිශයින් ජනප්‍රියයි මාස් හෝල්ඩින්ග්ස් වල ඒතර මේ වගේ වැඩසටහන් වලින් ගොඩාක් දේවල් කමියුනිකේට් වෙනවා මිනිස්සු ප්‍රබෝධමත් වෙනවා මිනිස්සු ප්‍රබෝධයටපත් වෙනවා මිනිස්සු සතුටෙන් ජීවත් වෙනවා right ඒකයි internal communication අති වැදගත් වෙන්නේ cultures create වෙනවා මිනිස්සු සතුටෙන් වැඩ කරනවා happiness index එක නගිනවා මාර විදියට it'll go to a totally different height and people will be happy right අපි මේ Salesforce එකත් එක්ක කරපු communications මෙල්බර්න් එකේ ඉන්නකොට Salesforce award system එක ඒක කිරි වෙන්න පුළුවන් බිස්කට්ස් වෙන්න පුළුවන් මිනිසුන් සතුටු කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිසුන් එක්ක නිතරම කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිසුන් එක්ක engage වෙන්න ඕනේ මිනිසුන් එක්ක engage වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒ ආයතනයක් නෙමෙයි මිනිසුන් එක්ක engage වෙන්නේ නැති lecturer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා එයා lecturer කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි මිනිසුත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නේ නැති manager කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් he is not a manager they are just post boxes මිනිසුන්ට ආදරය කරන්න නම් මිනිසුත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක කතා කරනවා නම් මිනිස්සු මොන තරම් හිටියත් නාට්‍යමය කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් රජෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් තමුන් ළඟින් ආශ්‍රය කරන්න ඕනේ කතා කරන්න ඕනේ communication is key ආයතනයක් තුල උඩින්නම් පල්ලෙහාටම communicate කරන්න ඕනේ chairman ගේ ඉඳලා gate එකේ ඉන්න security guard වෙනකම් අපි කතා කරන්න ඕනේ ආදරෙන් කතා කරන්න ඕනේ understanding විදිහට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ එතකොට තමයි මිනිස්සු අපිට ප්‍රතිචාර දක්වන්නේ එතකොට තමයි culture එකක් හැදෙන්නේ so that is why it is very important when we won the brand of the year for TVS. You can see in the middle, you have the CEO and myself, right? when we won the brand of the year, we communicated to internal staff. අපි party දැම්මා. අපි ලොකු award ceremony එකක් තිබ්බා. මිනිස්සු මාර සතුටුයි. මිනිස්සුන්ට future එකක් පේනවා. HR එක මාර විදිහට වැඩ කරා ඒව කරලා දෙන්න අපිට. මේ හැම ආයතනයකම මම වැඩ කරා. Right? So that is why it is very important. So what are various channels in communication? Internal communications, you have internet, emails, meetings, you have trainings, you have newsletters, you can have phone calls, right? And external communications, you have advertising, news releases, conferences, speaking engagements, thought leaderships, content marketing, and email marketing. But මේ දෙකට පොදු වෙච්ච අපිට අද නවීන ලෝකේ the modern world has websites, social media, flyers, events, environmental marketing, word of mouth, job review sites, photography, video, මේ හැම දෙයකින්ම අපි communicate කරනවා. Right, okay, going further, service strategy to service delivery. Very simple, guys. Service strategy එකක් හදන්න. The key elements of service delivery strategy. First is the service culture. Culture is set of values that guides creation of process to build a service delivery system for providing better value to customers, right? So you have to have the service culture. That's the first thing in the strategy. Employee engagement. The service system will be successful with effective communication between the design and service model. Third, service quality. The strategy and service design should be such it helps clients to reach the objective. Customer experience. Customer should be involved from creation to delivery of the service for successful service delivery model. Service culture, employee engagement, service quality, customer experience. These are the key elements of service delivery strategy. When you do that, you have a super service rolled out. And if you look at this diagram, you can see you have manufacturer, you have customer, service delivery strategy, service reception strategy. So in service delivery strategy, you can see a matrix: product support, customer support, product characteristics, customer characteristics, manufacturers wants, needs, preference, geographical location, infrastructure, capability, capacity, facilities, etc. So this is from the manufacturer's point of view, service delivery strategy. Service reception strategy you have to create. Operation strategy, maintenance strategy, product characteristics, capability, capacity, and etc. Owners wants, needs, preference, geographical location, infrastructure, capability, capacity, facilities, etc. Service delivery එකයි service reception එකයි correlate වෙන්න ඕනේ. Manufacturer and customer මේක දෙකක් වෙන්න බෑ. මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වා motor cycle එකක් deliver කරන්න ගිහිල්ලා ඒක හරියට deliver කරලා නැතුණා නම් මම කොහොමද මේ service එක දුන්නේ කියන එක. මේ service delivery එක service reception එක හදන්න ඕනේ. Classic example is when you have industry giants, look what these organizations have done. Janashakti Life records 145% growth in Q2 2021 in first year regular premium. මම පරණ එකක් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පෙන්නන්නේ. බලන්න මේ ජනශක්තිය එකේ revival එක. තනිකරම service industry එකේ ඉන්න giant කෙනෙක්. And I'm very happy that I have worked for Mr. Ravi Liyanage, CEO and director of JIPLC, and also Mr. Prakash Shafter, the legendary Chandra Shafter's son, the executive deputy chairman JIPLC. I have worked for them. I have high regards for both of them, and especially my mentor Ravi Liyanage. So what's Mr. RL's strategy? This RL strategy, turning around Janashakti into 145% growth in the Q2 of 2021 on regular premium. So what they have done? Just read this article, right? Look at what he's quoting. Our strong performance reasserts the agility and success of our business strategies even amidst challenging economic conditions. It is commendable how Janashakti team has gone above and beyond to cater to customers' well-being, reinforcing our commitment to our policyholders. Health and safety of our employees, customers and community are of paramount reinforce our paramount importance, and we will continue, right? We will continue to respond responsibly. Furthermore, as a part of the Janashakti group, we have the opportunity to utilize combined strength while adapting to the evolving needs of the community. Commented Mr. Prakash Shafta, Executive Deputy Chairman of Janashakti Life PLC. See how valuable that statement is. That's all with regards to service lecture. Okay, let's go further. Janashakti Life realigned its sole focus on life insurance in 2018 in strategic move calculated to achieve long-term growth, remaining true to its roots as a life insurer. The company has since then sought long-term growth while also meeting short and medium-term growth plans. Commenting on company's performance during the second quarter of the financial year, Janashakti Life's Director, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ravi Lianage said, hear me out. Huh? The most significant turnaround achievement was the growth of 145% in first year regular premium business during the second quarter, with the upward trajectory of gaining 2 market positions up in the first year premium compared to 2020. At the same time, gross written premium also grew significantly with 50% growth during the second quarter of 2021. We have revised our strategies to respond to the evolving needs in a prudent and far-seeing manner while focusing on our role as a trusted life insurer. We will continue to provide innovative solutions and respond with integrity and transparency to our customers' need. We will continue to provide innovative solutions and respond with integrity, vishwasa, and transparency to our customers' need. Those core values of integrity and commitment to growth are what steers us ahead through sustaining the trust of our stakeholders. See what a brilliant statement that is, right? So you all read this when I put these slides to the LMS, how focused they are. And this is Island Online. I picked this article, right? So I mean, imagine how best Janashakti is operating as a service provider. All right. Okay. Now with that, we are going into the final pitch of service development and design. Service development and design. Okay, let me go through this video for you, and then we'll start the lecture once again.
Chapter.
Right. Give me a minute. Right. We are coming to service development and design. Yeah, here now. And let's listen to this video, and then we will come to the lecture. It's going to be very simple, and just keep an eye on the video.
For developing service products, core and supplementary elements. Overview of Chapter 4. Designing a service product. The flower of service. Branding service products and experiences. New service development. The service concept is represented by service product. A service product comprises all elements of service performance, both tangible and intangible, that create value for customers. The service concept is represented by a core product, accompanied by supplementary services. Designing a service concept. 1. Core product. Central component that supplies the principal, problem-solving benefits customers seek. Supplementary services. Augment the core product, facilitating its use and enhancing its value and appeal. Delivery processes. Used to deliver both the core product and each of the supplementary services. Designing a service concept. 2. Service concept design must address the following issues. How the different service components are delivered to the customer. The nature of the customer's role in those processes. How long delivery lasts. The recommended level and style of service to be offered. Integration of core product, supplementary elements and delivery process, Figure 4.3. The flower of service. The flower of service, Fig 4.4, 1. Information. Payment. Consultation. Billing. Core. Order taking. Exceptions. Hospitality. Safekeeping. Key. Facilitating elements. Enhancing elements. The flower of service, 2. There are 2 kinds of supplementary services. Facilitating supplementary services, either needed for service delivery, or help in the use of the core product. Enhancing supplementary service, add extra value for the customer. In a well-designed and well-managed service organization, the petals and core are fresh and well-formed. Market positioning strategy helps to determine which supplementary services should be included. Supplementary services, 1. Facilitating. Information. Customers often require information about how to obtain and use a product or service. Order taking. Customers need to know what is available and may want to secure commitment to delivery. The process should be fast and smooth. Billing. Bills should be clear, accurate and intelligible. Payment. Customers may pay faster and more cheerfully if you make transactions simple and convenient for them. Supplementary services, 2. Enhancing. Consultation. Value can be added to goods and services by offering advice and consultation tailored to each customer's needs and situation. Hospitality. Customers who invest time and effort in visiting a business and using its services deserve to be treated as welcome guests. Safekeeping. Customers prefer not to worry about looking after the personal possessions that they bring with them to a service site. Exceptions. Customers appreciate some flexibility when they make special requests and expect responsiveness when things don't go according to plan. Facilitating services. Examples of information, Figure 4.5. Facilitating services. Examples of order taking, Figure 4.7. Facilitating services. Examples of billing, Figure 4.9. Facilitating services. Examples of payment, Figure 4.10. Enhancing services. Examples of consultation, Figure 4.11. Enhancing services. Examples of hospitality, Figure 4.13. Enhancing services. Examples of safekeeping, Figure 4.14. Enhancing services. Examples of exceptions, Figure 4.15. Managerial implications. Not every core product is surrounded by supplementary elements from all 8 clusters. Nature of product helps to determine which supplementary services must be offered, which might usefully be added to enhance value and ease of doing business with the organization. People processing and high-contact services tend to have more supplementary services. Firms that offer different levels of service often add extra supplementary services for each upgrade in service level. Branding service products and experiences. A product implies a defined and consistent bundle of output. Service products. A product implies a defined and consistent bundle of output. Firms can differentiate its bundle of output from competitors. Providers of more intangible services also offer a menu of products. Represent an assembly of elements that are built around the core product. May include certain value-added supplementary services, product lines and brands. Most service organizations offer a line of products rather than just a single product. They may choose among 3 broad alternatives. Single brand to cover all products and services. A separate, stand-alone brand for each offering. Some combination of these 2 extremes. Spectrum of branding alternatives, Fig 4.18. Source, derived from Aker and Joachim's Taylor. Example, British Airways sub-brands. British Airways offers 7 distinct air travel products. 4 intercontinental offerings. First, Deluxe Service. Club World, Business Class. World Traveller Plus, Premier Economy Class. World Traveller, Economy Class. 2 intra-European offerings. Club Europe, Business Class. Euro Traveller, Economy Class. UK Domestic, Economy Class between London and major British cities, offering a branded experience. 1. Branding can be used at both company and product levels. Corporate brand. Easily recognized. Holds meaning to customers. Stands for a particular way of doing business. Product brand. Helps firm establish mental picture of service in consumers' minds. Helps clarify value proposition. Offering a branded experience. 2. The brand promise or value proposition is not a tagline, an icon, or a color or a graphic element, although all of these may contribute. It is, instead, the heart and soul of the brand. Don Schultz. New Service Development. A hierarchy of new service categories. 1. Style changes. Visible changes in service design or scripts. Service improvements. Modest changes in the performance of current products. Supplementary service innovations. Addition of new or improved facilitating or enhancing elements. Process line extensions. Alternative delivery procedures. A hierarchy of new service categories. 2. Product line extensions. Additions to current product lines. Major process innovations. Using new processes to deliver existing products with added benefits. Major service innovations. New core products for previously undefined markets, achieving success in developing new services. Core product is of secondary importance. Ability to maintain quality of the total service offering is key. Accompanying marketing support activities are vital. Market knowledge is of utmost importance. Success factors in new service development. Market synergy. Good fit between new product and firm's image/resources. Advantage versus competition in meeting customers' needs. Strong support from firm during/after launch. Firm understands customer purchase decision behavior. Organizational factors. Strong interfunctional cooperation and coordination. Internal marketing to educate staff on new product and its competition. Employees understand importance of new services to firm. Market research factors. Scientific studies conducted early in development process. Product concept well defined before undertaking field studies. Summary of Chapter 4, Developing Service Concepts. 1. Creating services involve designing core product, supplementary services and delivery process. Flower of service includes core product and 2 types of supplementary services, facilitating and enhancing. Facilitating services include information, order taking, billing, and payment. Enhancing services include consultation, hospitality, safekeeping, and exceptions. Spectrum of branding alternatives exists for services. Branded house, sub-brands, endorsed brands, house of brands.
Right, so we'll go back to the lecture once again. I think you all got a good understanding as to service development and design. Got a perfect understanding. And let's go to see, it's all to do with idea management and requirement analysis. Look, idea management is about collection of ideas, appraisal of ideas, and then you move that into a requirement analysis, market requirement, and what's the company required. Service design, service product model, service process model, service resource model, and the marketing concept. That's where the most vital part of the whole plan is going to take place. Then you need to test the concept, conceptual testing, simulation of service scape, and simulation of interaction. Then service implementation, and then we'll go to the rollout of market launch. So we can have a new service development process, a different approach altogether with regards to full launch. First design, analysis, development, and go to the full launch with this model. And if you look at global food chains like Govinda, which operates in Australia and Fiji and New Zealand, their service models are absolutely brilliant because they maintain the similar taste of food. If you look at McDonald's, Domino's, everywhere you go, the taste remains the same. So how is that? Because of the service delivery strategy that they adapt. And if you go to Upali's, that is in Colombo, unique taste for so many years. They won't change that. Why? Their service strategy is aligned. You go to Dwaraka restaurant in Marine Drive. The taste is absolutely great. Service is absolutely great. Products are absolutely good. How? Service strategy. Right. Now with that, I will conclude my lecture. But before that, I would like to remind one more time. Let's see another video. Right. I have to give this knowledge to you before I conclude. It's a clip that I picked from Hi Videos. Watch this whole episode and you will get loads of information as to how to deliver a service, what is entrepreneur culture, and how an entrepreneur can be built, branding can be done. So listen to this. This is Roshni Gunaratna and Dush Ratnayaka on conversation. I picked this video up. It's a brilliant video. Even I have learned it. So over to you. Listen to it and enjoy.
From the cubicle.
Hi, my name is Dush Ratnayaka. I am the head chef and founder of Bellissima. We are Bellissima, specializing in flavored biscuit puddings, and we've been around for about 7 years. We were the first to market with this concept, and as far as our future plans go, we look to take our product global to familiarize everyone else around the world with our Sri Lankan biscuit pudding. We are currently in the process of opening our first physical store at the Hatch building in Colombo, in Fort. Also looking to expand our range of desserts that are on offer and won't be limited to biscuit pudding in the future.
Hi, I'm Roshni Gunaratna, the founder of Bonds Dutch Delicacies. Bonds is a brand that is very new to the market. It's drawing on family traditions which span possibly more than 100 years. I'm someone who's been an artist. I have experience on theatre and stage in Sri Lanka and dance, and more recently in public relations, but Bonds is something completely new, so entering, this whole sphere of being an entrepreneur is something completely new to me, but I'm totally enjoying the challenge. So right now we're specializing in chocolate biscuit pudding made to this 100-year-old recipe. So the classic, which is a strong brandy-infused biscuit pudding. And there's also the marzipan, which is a new introduction. So we've given the old recipe a twist. Starting this whole venture was a way of giving back to my mom and a family legacy that's been passed down. And I would love to be able to share this with the rest of the world.
Being this specific in making biscuit pudding, has it ever stressed you out, as the interest from a client may die down soon?
Actually, that was a very real fear because I am an extremely creative person, so I get bored very easily. But I've been able to kind of remove myself from the business and my personal stimulation, so to speak, because the product has to be consistent. You cannot keep changing it or introducing brand new flavors every other week because it takes time to build momentum for people to understand the product. So while the business just kind of chugs along with our product portfolio, what I've done is I've found other avenues to keep myself interested and kind of motivated. So hence I do my YouTube channel, Dishing with Dush, where I get to create new recipes. I consult for businesses, which is like restarting the whole process all over again of creating brands and creating menus, testing it out, figuring it out, and the excitement of creating something new is always there. I've also started writing a cookbook, well, which is pretty much done. It's been done for a while, so it's not out yet. And in fact, it was Roshni who helped me lock down the name for the book, which was Kitchen Reboot, one day at dinner. So so that's kind of how I managed to keep my motivation and interest levels up while not getting bored with just doing the same thing over and over again.
I wouldn't see it as stressful because I believe that if you enjoy what you do, it shouldn't have to be stressful. That being said, I do everything on my own because this is a relatively new business. It's also very new to me as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman because I've been heavily involved in the creative industries up to now, and I still am. So it's nice that I get to play around and challenge myself and learn something new every day.
How hard is it to market your product?
Not at all, really. But what happened was we've done very little marketing because when we started Bellissima as a B2B business, it was kind of automatic. There was a lot of word of mouth that happened because the restaurants that carried it had their set clientele. They immediately took to it and they recommended it to their friends. So that had been the most important drive to getting to building our brand really and getting the name out. Now we're looking at more traditional methods of marketing, not traditional per se, but I mean digital marketing for sure, like FB, Instagram ads, but also we're looking at magazine ads and trying to increase our customer base from the current clique of very loyal customers we have.
At the moment, we're heavily pushing it on social media. I feel like because it's a very competitive market, but at the same time, it's good to have the healthy competition. And it's a different product offering. So I like that, people get to experience something different because Bond's Dutch Delicacies biscuit pudding is also different to what's being offered out there. So we hope that we can reach more people and let them experience it.
How difficult or expensive is it to be a home-based chef, and how do you overcome this?
Actually, it is, and especially if you're a home chef or you're trying to start a food business at home, it can be expensive for the simple reason that you don't have access to B2B rates. Your suppliers are not going to give you the rates they give restaurants who buy in bulk. So the only way you can push past this is to expand your volume. I mean, there really is no shortcut. And you also won't have access to credit facilities when you start. So you really do need a little chunk of change to get a business going. And my advice is make sure you have your cash buffers lined up, because if you get into a business and get cash strapped, it becomes extremely stressful very, very fast. So make sure you do your budgets correctly. And once you get to a proper volume where you can tap into these benefits, you will see the game changing and it becoming progressively easier.
Well, to be honest, I'm still overcoming it, I think. But I mean, it's been a relatively short journey thus far, because Bond's Dutch Delicacies is about 1 year old now. In terms of expensive, I guess it's just being very about stringent on quality, and I personally make sure before each jar goes out, I'm just very particular about what goes into it and the ingredients. So yeah.
How do you maintain standards in fresh produce?
So how we maintain standards in the freshness of our product is having really short product cycles. We make sure we only make a batch that is enough for about a week, and sometimes it becomes a little bit of a juggling game, because it's constantly, our volumes are expanding, so it's almost never enough. So it's a constant scramble almost when it comes to production. But this is, I think, a small price to pay to maintain the freshness. And what we've done is we have very diligently calculated the shelf life of our puddings, and they keep quite well for over a month if it's frozen, and we don't add any preservatives. I believe that our products need to be as natural as possible, the way you cook at home, and that's also, and you can tell it in the taste if there is anything added. So I'm not a believer of that. So freshness is purely down to timing. So although we can keep it for a month, we try and push everything out in a week.
It's similar along the lines of what Dush was saying. I estimated the shelf life, as in we've labeled it as 10 days, but you can easily keep it up to a month. And alcohol is an amazing preservative, so that alone helps in like a lengthier shelf life. But to be safe, I have said 10 days because I'm not sure once it's out of our hands, if it needs to be kept refrigerated. So sometimes if it's kept out and back in the fridge, back out again, I have no control over that. So for that reason, we've given that restricted timeline.
From the cubicle. To what do you attribute your success?
Oh, that we could go on for about a day. I think so. I think essentially what you're going to be faced with constantly is change. And with each stage in your business, you're going to encounter different problems. And if the problems are different each time, that means you're growing. You're faced with something new. This is good. You want challenges. It means it's a sign that you're encountering growing pains, and you just need to be creative in how you solve these problems. And that's how you build resilience and you work on the longevity of your business. So adapt to change. So it's very difficult to say this is the biggest problem we've had, because at every stage you're faced with it, at that point it is the biggest problem you ever faced. So it's constant change.
Since the business is still growing, I think I like the direction it's heading in. It's a similar again also to what Dush was saying about the standards you uphold and about your ethos, and especially when even our packaging to everything, just trying to make it more sustainable to appeal to this market.
How do you differentiate your restaurant from others?
I think the reason why our brand has become well known is because we have differentiated our product, because we introduced something that wasn't already there. We were the first to come up with this concept of flavored biscuit puddings. I mean, biscuit puddings have been there forever. I didn't invent biscuit puddings. But taking something that people were familiar with and giving it a new spin, just breathed new life to that, and also to the dessert market, because at the time, I think it was the donut and cupcake craze that was going on. Everybody was making donuts, everybody was making cupcakes. And I think people were just relieved to see something a little different. So that really worked for us.
I think there's a growing demand for artisan desserts. So this, I would classify this as an artisan biscuit pudding. And also the fact that we're drawing on a legacy that has been passed down. And I think, people love the story, they connect with it. I know there are so many families out there who have these amazing recipes which they've passed down. So it's lovely to be able to share that with the local community and the customers.
What is the long-term outlook for restaurant businesses in Sri Lanka comparing to the global market?
Well, we want to start really looking at physical retail spaces, which is something I've been averse to for the longest time, but I think it's come to a point where the business requires it. So that's going to happen this year. We are starting our first store at Hatch. And actually, we are doing a crowdfunding campaign at the moment to collect funds for this. So if you are interested, please go to tribefunds.lk and see if it's something that interests you, because for the different contribution bands, we have some amazing gifts for our clients and our loyal fans. So that is one, and also we are very serious about going global as soon as possible, which would follow the retail spaces, of course. So it's just a matter of time. I don't know when, but going global is definitely right at the top of our list.
I think it's interesting because we always look to export the product rather than create a hub or make this a destination for that's known for its food. And I mean, we have some amazing food and culinary delights. So maybe that's something we could explore on improving the industry and the standards here, and attracting more people to Sri Lanka for that purpose.
If you had one piece of advice to give someone who is starting out, what would it be?
I would say, don't think, everybody eats food. Just start, put your barbecue out and start selling, barbecue chicken, and we'll make a ton of money. It doesn't work that way. Food industry is extremely difficult, and if you are not passionate about it, trust me, you are going to hate life. So my advice would be, if you are very serious about entering this industry, try to solve, as with any business, try to solve a problem that exists. So if there is a hole in the market for something, identify that and get creative. So introduce something new, get innovative. That is how you really build a brand that lasts. That is how you make big bucks, because you can follow the trend. See, I've noticed that since we started, we've signaled to the market that there's a lot of money to be made in biscuit puddings. And every other week I see a new business popping up, which is great. And I love the thrill of having competition, and it's all in good spirit. But if you cannot compete with the big dogs, what happens is you end up reinforcing their brand, because people will try other alternatives in the market. If it doesn't compare, it goes against you. So it's better that you use that energy, because you can't always follow the money, and it will work for a very short time. So where you truly can make the big bucks is innovate, get creative, and that energy is well spent. And also what happens is you feel really proud of your product, and there's a lot of ownership, and that is what we need to strive. So with being an entrepreneur, that goes hand in hand. You have to have that drive to push for more creative products. So that would be my advice, because it's not just about making money. You have to love what you do.
I would straight off say, stick to your guns and stick to your principles. Believe in your product enough. I think you will see results eventually, but you just have to hang in there and see it through.
What do you know as each other as home cooks?
Well, so I'm answering first, I guess. So I've eaten at Roshni's a couple of times. So the first thing I tried was your prawn salad, which is with the mango, which is amazing. I think you are more comfortable following recipes. Am I not wrong?
Actually cook by feel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
but
that
yes,
was
sometimes
wrong,
I do respond. I go to a
yeah.
recipe. Yeah.
So, but her food is good because
Thank
at one
you.
point she was on a keto diet, and I never thought keto-friendly food could taste that good. And then I tasted her biscuit puddings before they hit the market, and I finished the entire bowl of the marzipan one. Like, oh God, so good. I'll have to try it.
So I've known Dush a long time, and yeah, quite a few years actually.
Yeah.
And but you actually got into cooking, was it a few years back, right?
No, actually,
been a
I've been
while.
cooking since I was 7,
Okay.
but I didn't think of it as
As a
something-
venture.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
anything serious. So I didn't even tell
Yeah.
people I cooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've tried his food and it's amazing. And I remember this one incident where he came and baked a cake at my place. And you made a oat flour cake.
Yes, because again, she was on the keto diet, and there was no flour in the house, obviously. So we had to kind of use oats and make oat flour.
It was quite inventive. It was amazing. This is really generous with his ingredients. So I think we completely ran out of chocolate and oats and all the ingredients that day. But I mean, the result was amazing.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
What advice would you tell each other?
Oh, I wouldn't be so presumptuous as to give her advice, but I mean, I wouldn't tell her how to run a business. But I
Please
think,
do.
please, okay. Like I would say, trust your gut. If something feels right, even if the rest of the world is saying don't do it, listen to that voice, and you'll prove them wrong.
Thank you.
And even if it doesn't work out, there's never a failure. It's just it's learning experience. It's always and it always has value, no matter how horribly things turn out. It's up here how we perceive it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I honestly don't know what advice I can give you because I see you as a role model in this industry. I think so many people could learn a lot from you and your work ethic. So definitely an inspiration.
But tell me something.
I honestly don't everything right.
Okay.
So
What first impression did you have of each other?
So I thought this was the prettiest thing I ever saw in my life. I was 13, I think. You were 12.
I was 12.
And we were in table tennis class.
Yeah, we were actually table tennis partners.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Laripianta. It's been ages. So yeah, we've known each other young. And we had the same birthday
Yes,
as well.
we share the same birthday.
She had the
That's
same
right.
birthday. And similar tasting food.
Yep.
All that, yeah. So you don't like Mirinda, remember that.
Don't like?
Mirinda.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
you remembered.
Yeah. Are we allowed to mention brands?
Oops. That
No, so
is the
that-
orange drink.
That is the origin. That is a funny story. So, so I was so enthralled by her, and I was like, "Do you want anything to drink?" And I just wouldn't leave her alone. She didn't want anything to drink, and just to get her off my back, off her back, she was like, "Just anything but Mirinda." So I went to get her at Otters Club. No, oh, they're
Yes.
shutting down. Did you?
I
see
heard,
that? Oh,
yeah.
that's sad.
That's a conversation for another time.
Another sorry, we are digressing. But yeah, so she doesn't like Mirinda anyway. That's I ended up getting you a Mirinda, which I was not supposed to. Was the story anyway.
It was so far back. But I think, was it on the first day we were paired up as table tennis partners?
I think
It
so.
might have been that
Yeah.
first impression. I think we got on really well though.
Yes,
Yeah.
I used to spit on you a lot.
From the,
Yes.
that too. But yeah, I think we had a lot of good times and we had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
What do you think of each other's ventures?
So I think it's brilliant because Roshni has an amazing story that makes sense for her product, and it's a family heirloom basically, this recipe, and it's honestly one of the best biscuit puddings I've tried. So it's a completely different route to what I've taken, because mine is taking something that's familiar and then completely changing it. For her, it's staying true to what's happened throughout the generations, and the fact that she uses brandy like all our aunts and moms and grandmas do. There's a lot of nostalgia there, and that is just honestly just brilliant that you decided to add marzipan, because I love marzipan.
you.
Yeah, and it tastes so Christmassy. So it really creates a mood the puddings I've tried that you made, because even if it's not Christmas and you're feeling Christmassy, just get one of those marzipan biscuit puddings, because it will really put you in the mood.
Completely respect, and I'm inspired by what you do. And I mean, you are such a versatile chef. You know, it's not that you are restricted to just one thing and you're known for that. So I really admire the fact that you can also be innovative at the same time, and that you put yourself out there and you've grown this amazing, I can see you creating this huge empire actually with this. But good on you. So definitely a person who inspires me.
What do you think about this program?
Well, I love it, because you know, usually when you have a panel or
Right. So that's how, well, professionals talk when it comes to business. See, this is where you have to be, my young kids. You have to be. මෙන්න මෙතන තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉන්න ඕන තැන. කවදා හරි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ life එකේ, you know, I can imagine Pavanis and Trevans and we have Arunas and we have Charmerers. When this industry is going to come. So take a brand, do what you want, take a service, do what you want, enjoy. And this profession of marketing, branding, sales, service marketing, or whatever that it takes, it has to be enjoyed. It has to be loved. ආදරෙන් කරන දේ ආසාවෙන් කරන්න, බ්‍රෑන්ඩ් එකක් වුණත් බොහොම ආසාවෙන් හදන්න. එතකොට ඉබේම තමුන්ට කියලා ජොබ් එකක් රස්සාවක් හැදෙනවා. ඉගෙන ගන්න එපා කවදාවත් රස්සාවක් කරන්න කියලා හිතාගෙන. right? නමුත් රස්සාවක් කරන්න ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. Right? With that, all the best. Thank you very much.